And we're joined in the studio. We have a live guest this morning who was a local filmmaker, Brendan Cherry, has popped in after winning, I do believe, an award last night. Good morning, Brendan.
Good morning, Simon.
Thanks, first of all, very much for coming in at rather early in the day.
Yes.
Were you now the award last night? This was at the from the City of Greater Bendigo. I think it was the Loddon Campaspe Community Legal Centre. Actually, you were at getting the award last night.
Yes.
And the film, Debt, No Place to Be. How did you come about to do the film, to get involved with this?
Well, I'm the creator, the director and everything, so I was the one who invented the idea, I guess.
Okay, and but how did you get involved? How did they get you involved in the first place?
Well, like they promoted the competition on the Bendigo Senior website. They had flyers and stuff.
And this was basically a competition to develop a resource to educate kids across a wide variety of topics, yeah? It was up to you what to make
No, it had to be about youth debt.
Oh, right, specifically about youth debt, yep.
So the competition was called Avoiding the Youth Debt Trap, I think.
Oh, right, yep.
Yeah, something like that.
And is that something you've come across before?
Debt?
Yes.
No.
Oh, that's all right. Then you're doing well. Yes. Mind you, a long life ahead of you, please, Brendan. I should let people know. I could try and guess how old you are, but I would do badly, embarrass us both. I'd guess 19?
No.
Younger then, hopefully.
Yes, I'm younger.
Well, you'd love me to say 19 in that case. If you were 21, you would have been really pissed off. Can I ask how old are you, Brendan?
I'm 17.
Oh, there you go. You're almost 19, much for muchness. There you go. Oh, I remember way back then. And how long have you been involved in making films? Is this like one of your first efforts, or have you done it for a while?
I've been doing it for quite a few years, since I was about 12.
I thought you were going to say for a moment since you were a kid, which would have been entertaining in and of itself. So since you were 12, 5 years, that's pretty good. And how did you get into it when you were 12? Why did that start?
Well, I always loved playing around with our home analog camera or something. Right, yeah. And at my primary school, there was a program called Kids Congress, which they chose students who were good at computers or something.
Right, yeah.
And lots of kids from different schools around Bendigo went to an event.
Oh, that's good.
I
made a camp or whatever.
Pardon?
I went to a camp.
No, it was in Bendigo.
Oh, right,
just for 2 days.
All right.
And I made a claymation, and that sort of got me more into it.
Okay, now claymation, for people who might understand it, things like Wallace and Gromit, isn't it?
Yes.
And actually little figures made, are they literally made of clay?
Yes.
Or plasticine, or what do you use?
Yeah, plasticine.
Right.
And depending on how advanced, probably most advanced ones would have wire and stuff so that they don't fall apart.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, because also you've got lights, don't you? They're often bright lights with filming.
Well, I don't think we did, because we were like primary school. But
well, just as well. You don't want to get halfway through the film and have all your stars melting.
Yeah.
Unless that's the point of the film. You do a horror film.
Well, actually, it was
about the end of the world. About the end of the world, everything getting hot and everything. It'll make perfect sense.
We actually had a penguin who became too fat, and he cracked the ice.
Oh.
And he had to sort of melt into the ice.
Pengy. So it was both a global warming and a penguin warming.
I think it had to be about health, and he'd eaten too much.
I like the idea. Can we still see the fat penguin if you put it on YouTube?
That particular video isn't actually up. It's one of my few videos that isn't on YouTube.
Right. And so you say that. How many videos would you have on YouTube?
There's about 50.
All right. Ranging from what sort of length?
The longest is 15 minutes.
All right, that's quite
and shortest 50 seconds, probably. Right. There were quite a few, 2 to 5 minutes, mostly.
Okay, and what sort of equipment? Are you doing this like on your mobile phone video or a special video camera? What do you have to use?
A few years ago, my parents invested in like a high-end consumer Canon camera.
All right, so really good one.
And, yes. And,
hold on, stop for a moment. When you say your parents have invested, does that mean that they're wanting some money back on this eventually, or they want to be in your first feature film, or what?
It's technically a family camera.
Is this sort of like the family dog, though, that only goes with one person?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'd say so, exactly. If you ask the camera, we know who the camera would go with.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, though, to get that encouragement.
Yes.
From your parents and so on. Is there stuff that you've made you wouldn't want to show your parents?
As in films?
Yeah.
I think they've seen everything I've made.
Right.
Not straight after I made it, though.
Oh no, you don't want to show anyone that straight after you made it. You've got to sort of, you've got to edit it and.
After I've edited it, though. I don't. There have been some. I made like a horror movie.
Oh right.
Yeah, that Mum didn't like much.
Well, you've got to be careful there because they are your backers, basically, aren't they?
Yes.
It's like getting, as you find in the real world.
I don't actually like horror much anyway, but...
No, why not?
I think the storylines are slightly cheap.
Well, then you've got to develop a better storyline,
Yes.
don't you? I mean, horror is very much just a basic human emotion, so it's
Yes.
just as valid, I suppose, as doing a love story, doing a horror story.
Yeah.
Just come up with a different way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, I like the suspense and mystery, but apart from that, horror doesn't interest me. Like, so I sort of like thrillers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the suspense part of a horror, hopefully, that's the best part, not necessarily the horror part, is
Yeah.
it? I mean, that's always best if it's implied rather than
Yes.
stated, don't you think?
Yeah.
Don't they say with monsters, it's always better with in films like that if you don't actually show the monster?
Yes.
Because the audience can imagine, the worst thing they can think of, but you can't necessarily do that yourself without getting it their way. Now, we should talk about last night's film called Debt, No Place to Be.
Yeah.
was called,
yes. No Place to Be was the official title.
Right.
And I just put Debt is at the start to just make more sense for the competition.
Fair enough, too. And also makes it yours, which is good. And could we see it on YouTube?
Yes.
Excellent. We like YouTube. And probably on... have you got a Facebook page, by the way?
Yes.
You should put all these things up, and are they all linked to that?
Yes.
That's fantastic. It's a great time, I think, to be the age you are now, because you've got so many of these opportunities and ways of getting the films and things out there.
Yep.
I mean, if it was 30 years ago, what would you have done?
I really don't know.
Well, you could have been doing hand puppets and take them around, you never know.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. And tell us a bit about the film. Sorry, we haven't got much time. We've got a few minutes left, but tell us a bit about the film. When you're approaching the subject of... I mean, obviously it's a great thing to talk about, the debt, and can be a problem for everybody, let alone kids. How do you approach that topic?
Well, I never want to make something that's just about that. Like, I wanted to add some kind of metaphor type thing into it, and so that it's more interesting.
Yep.
So it's not just a bland sort
Bit
of
of depth,
storyline.
bit of colour and light and shade.
Yes, hopefully.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I use the metaphor of debt is a physical place,
All right, an actual
and
place.
there's a sort of debt collector, like the Grim Reaper type person.
Yeah.
And when he gets as far as he does into debt, he gets taken and put in a house that he can't escape until
a
he
place.
until he rings until he seeks support for his debt.
Okay, excellent. Well, don't give any more away.
Yes.
Don't tell us what happens to death in the end or anything like that. We'll find out. And how would people see it on YouTube if they had a look? How do you do it? Would you download? I mean...
Well, if you search in Brennan Cherry or Mile Creations, which is what I call myself.
and sorry, what was it called again?
Mile Creations, Mile Creations. If you search that into YouTube, you'll get the top results of mine.
Excellent. And is that exciting? Do you do that yourself? You go in, or do you ever Google yourself?
Yes.
Well, that is part of the popular zeitgeist. Well, there's something for Luke in Bendigo, because Luke sent us an SMS before wondering about what was happening in Bendigo this weekend. That's what's happening, Luke. You can get on YouTube and you can check out Brendan Cherry's film, Debt, No Place to Be. I like the sound. It's a good idea. I think it's a good, nice metaphor putting it. It's actually, debt is an actual place. The old expression, the poorhouse, that thing used to be around. It's not anymore. You could have used that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yes, you see, you learn something. You think you're 19, you think you know it all. And what's next? Are you going to go and do as we should, gosh, we've got to wrap it up, but just quickly, are you going to go on and study film, or would you like to go to the
yes,
VCA or
hopefully.
somewhere?
Yes.
Where's a good place to go?
Possibly Swinburne. There's nowhere in Bendigo.
Right, you're down to Melbourne.
Yeah, I have looked at other scholarships in different states to so that I wouldn't have to pay for it because it's expensive.
Yeah.
For film courses.
Well, you can sell the camera. Sell the parents' camera, don't tell them.
I still need that.
Oh, yes, I suppose you will. You're saying I've got a nephew doing a film course down at Box Hill.
Okay.
That's apparently
yeah,
quite
that's
good there.
another place that I've looked at a little.
Very good. All right, look, we've got to wrap it up. I can sit here chatting away to you all morning. That's no good. We've got news coming up in about 23 seconds. So, just to finish wrapping up, thanks for everybody who's been on the show today. Thanks very much, Brendan, for coming into the studio. Very
Thanks,
good of you at
Simon.
this time of day. You didn't stay up all night or anything?
Not quite.
Oh, you could have. You're 19. It's easy for you.